Richmond with the ball, down to 9 on the shot clock. Left wing open shot, Harper missing. Rebound tip, Giroux's got it. Feeds 2 extra passes, and Justin Harper gets the layup. What beautiful, beautiful ball movement by Richmond. Richmond dribbling it out, and the Richmond Spiders are proving their worth beyond any doubt. They are heading to the Sweet 16 in San Antonio.
Welcome back to Jim Rome is Burning, presented by Bass Pro Shops.
Welcome back. My guest is the head coach of the Richmond Spiders. He's led them to their second Sweet 16 berth in school history. Chris Mooney joins me. Nice to have you, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing well, Jim. Thanks for having me on.
Good to have you. All right, so you put it to Morehead State pretty good. I would never say that it was easy, but you beat them by 17. Did you think that game was going to go that way?
Well, no. I think you don't know what's going to happen at this stage. And when we watched them play Louisville, they looked terrific. They certainly looked very athletic, fast, aggressive. And I think we came out and started the game well, which Louisville did not. And when we were able to start the game, we kind of had a little bit of control, and were able to kind of pull away there in the second half. So a great win for us against a very good Morehead State team.
I would imagine also coming in, the nation's leading rebounder, Kenneth Fareed, must have been a concern of yours, but you did a really good job at neutralizing him. How were you able to do so?
Well, one thing we've talked about going into the game is it's hard to stop a guy from rebounding. I mean, we can do our best when we're on defense and try to limit his offensive rebounds, but it's hard to stop him from rebounding. What we didn't want to have happen was his rebound lead to dunks of his own or quick outlets in transition. We thought we did a good job of that. And then the other thing is we wanted to double team him anytime he caught the ball on the offensive end. And, while I'm sure he's seen a lot of that during the course of his career, I think it was a good strategy. It did limit him a little bit, and from that, we were able to make it a little bit more difficult for them to score in their half-court offense.
Speaking of your defense, when I look at you guys, it seems to me you're playing man, but then it seems like you're not, but then it seems like you might be. Tell me exactly what's going on, and if it's confusing the viewer, what's it do to the team you're going up against?
Well, you're right. I think we can make some adjustments on our defense. We call it a matchup zone defense, but there are a lot of man-to-man principles that we follow when we're playing our defense. And I think the biggest key is we can make adjustments during the course of the game to try to combat the way somebody's trying to attack us. So we might guard something different, a little bit differently in the second half than we did in the first half, or even later in the game than we did earlier in the game, just because we had a timeout to make an adjustment. I think our guys are good at thinking on the fly and communicating on defense. And I think it probably is a little bit frustrating, especially for a team who didn't have that much time to prepare for us and isn't used to seeing it.
When you start the tournament as a 12, you beat a 5 in Vanderbilt, Chris, and all of a sudden you hear it again. The Giant Killer has done it again. This is what Richmond's all about. But when you look at that, did that seem to be an upset to you?
Well, not really. And I say that with great respect for Vanderbilt and their program. But we felt like, we've beaten some really good teams over the past few years, and being on the court for those 40 minutes, I didn't feel at all like it was an upset win. As good as Vanderbilt is, I think we thought that we may have been seated a little bit lower than our body of work, but that was what it was, and we needed to go and play Vanderbilt. But we didn't feel like it was an upset at all, and we were just looking forward to playing, and you're going to get a great team in the NCAA tournament. Just looking forward to playing and competing and doing our best.
This notion of Giant Killer, this is great on the way up, but once you've done it enough times, maybe it doesn't sound as great anymore. If it were up to you, would you just retire that handle altogether?
Probably so. We have a tremendous amount of respect for the history of our program, and a big part of that history was Richmond under Coach Dick Tarrant pulling great upsets over Auburn and Syracuse in the NCAA tournament, Indiana in the NCAA tournament. And so we don't want to run away from it at all. But at the same time, we feel like as the A-10 champions in our second consecutive year, hopefully being ranked and being in the NCAA tournament, we feel like that we are in a little bit of a different place right now. We're happy to still be playing, and we're happy to take kind of any nickname that is associated with winning in the NCAA tournament. But at the same time, we feel like our players feel like we're in a little bit of a different place right now.
All right, so you got Kansas coming up next. The one thing they have that most teams can't boast, 2 legitimate quality bigs. What's your plan for dealing with those 2 guys?
Well, I'm going to get back to you on that one. They're a tremendous team. The Morris twins, who I've been watching for a long time, obviously on the AAU circuit, and 2 guys from Philadelphia, which is where I'm from, so I've tried to follow them closely. They're a tremendous team. tremendous inside play. They lead the country in field goal percentage. They must lead the country in assists per game. They share the ball so well for a team full of stars, and that's probably what I'm most impressed with, is that they don't have a lot of guys who force shots. They pass up shots to get better shots. And when you have a team with that much talent that is willing to play together like that, it gives you an awful lot of trouble at the defensive end. So we're going to work very hard to try to come up with something that tries to slow them down a little bit because they're so good in transition. But I don't know if anybody can really just totally disrupt them to the point they take them out of their game.
Chris, officiating's been pretty much a big topic so far in the tournament. What do you think about what you've seen from the officials so far?
They've been great.
Yeah, right.
No, you know, it's a difficult, you know, basketball is a really difficult game to officiate, and the things happen so fast. And Jim, you know, when you're down courtside with how the speed of the game, the size of the players, the intensity of the game, it's a really difficult job to do. I think that the biggest thing you're looking for is consistency. And then toward the end of the game, that's where a lot of, you know, that's obviously where the most critical eyes are watching the officials. And so many plays happen that are inexplicable, like the end of the Butler and Pitt game. And that's a difficult job for the officials, a difficult position for them to be in. So I know they're doing their best. These are the very best officials in the country that are still officiating. And I think that's the most you can ask for, is that these guys are evaluated. They're rated very highly. They're officiating the games. Most of them have been there before. And, you know, you're hopeful that the players can determine the outcome of the game, and they do it in a really positive way.
All right. Chris, great to have you on the show. Thanks so much. Good luck to you. We'll do it again soon.
Thanks so much, Jim. I appreciate it.
Me too.